Connectra creates opportunities for people living with disabilities by providing information, resources, and programming geared towards greater inclusion and quality of life. Check out some of the programs we offer through our online learning platform, Connect Together, including our Service Mondays, where we highlight a local organization or initiative, Wednesday Chair Yoga with Bobby Seal-Kobiski, Thursday Adapted Fitness with Megan Williamson, Friday Rotating Dance Classes hosted by Janice Lawrence and Joanne Cuff, and other initiatives including presentations by the Disabled Independent Gardeners Association's Growable program and our Perspective series. Check out our updated programs calendar on our website, connectra.org, or find us on Facebook at Connectra Society.
Okay, you can start.
Okay, hello everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Eric Mollendijk. I am a program manager at the Disability Foundation. And for those who do know the Disability Foundation, know that lots of things happen in the summertime, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm thankful that Connect Together has given me this opportunity to talk about our summer program. So I'm going to touch on each one. Now, there are some programs like VAMS and DIGA, and of course Connectra. If you wanted to know more details, you would speak to those program managers. Graham Wyman manages those programs, or you'd speak to the program coordinators. But we're going to talk about that. So I'm going to do a screen share here, and I'm going to share my PowerPoint. And for the next hour or so, we're going to go over our programs, and feel free to leave questions in the chat, or you will see my contact information at the end of the presentation if you'd like to follow up in your own time. So without further ado, I'm going to screen share. We have the sound selected. So there we go, share screen. And again, all of these societies come under the umbrella of the Disability Foundation. It's always a good reminder because there's so many programs going on. So people often ask, how are the programs connected? So that's what we're going to try and go over today, is how do these programs work together and what's happening this summer. So first off, the Disability Foundation, when we say the network, we mean the other societies. The network inspires and empowers people with disabilities to reimagine what's possible. So everybody can participate, all ages, all different physical abilities. And here are our 6 societies. So if we just go in alphabetical order, we have the Adaptive Sailing Association of BC, formerly the Disabled Sailing Association. Again, over the last few years, we've changed our logo, but it's the same program. You're sailing out at Jericho Beach. And then we have BC MOS, the British Columbia Mobility Opportunities Society. Its logo is kind of a stream and mountain and trees because lots of outdoor activities. We'll get into that momentarily. And then we have the Disabled Independent Gardeners Association. As we talked about before I got started, they have lots of content through Growable, and I'll touch on some other aspects. We have Connectra, of course, which is also a platform where we can talk about our programs, and as our host, but they have tons of content. So look for that. And then we have Tetra, which is assistive devices and VAMS. So coming in May, all of these programs are going to be up and running. So if we start here with BC MOS, the oldest program of BC MOS is our Trail Rider. So with this program here, if you wanted to go somewhere and you couldn't do so with your mobility aid, you could get in the Trail Rider. It has a kickstand. It is adjustable to different heights and different sizes. And we're going to be hiking this year throughout the Lower Mainland. Knock on wood, COVID is less of a factor. So just like we did last year, we did more hikes throughout the Lower Mainland. We're looking to do that again this year. Some sunset hikes, some nature guide hikes, some hikes in Surrey, the North Shore. We have some hikes planned throughout the entire summer with our staff that we hope will provide a great opportunity to get out there in nature. And again, it is for all age groups. If there's any parents that are going to be watching this later, we do have kids' days throughout the summer. And we also, you can rent the trail rider. So in the summertime, it's always good to give us a couple days notice. We do rent them out. One of my colleagues, David Ostro, probably familiar to many of you watching this channel, would help you set up the trail rider, and you can go on a hike with your friends or family. And depending how experienced you are, you might want to start out on something easy like Stanley Park or Pacific Spirit is where we do a lot of hikes, and we'll be hiking Wednesday through Sunday. And again, the programs will all be officially starting the week of May 22nd. So things are ramping up. And if you want to know when you can book online, our summer staff is starting this year May 15th. So I'm going to keep reiterating this. You can book online as you've done in the past or over the phone with somebody starting May 15th. And here's an example of different hikes. Well, this is out in Lynn Valley, and we'll be out there this year. And you can see, you can be on the suspension bridge. The trail rider is more narrow than a wheelchair. And again, we will have two staff. Leif Olson, who worked with us last year, is coming back, so you'll see a familiar face. And then we have Kaylee, a new staff, but somebody who's very keen to go out and go hiking with you. And then here's an example, just to give you an idea of where the trail rider's been rented around the world. Now, this is the base camp of Everest in the back. We're not going to ask you to do that over the summer season. But if you had some great hiking experiences and were an adventurer and wanted to rent it, then that's where you could go. Here is an example of a local hike. And here is an example of a hike that we have scheduled on our calendar this year that you might want to give a try. You did the hike with Sam yesterday too?
Yeah, a little bit more. How you doing, Eric?
Good.
All right.
Got a feeling and I'm gonna feel it out. You got me shaking up and moving around. From the birches to the blacktop, we want it all, we want it all. Don't stop, don't quit. No, not a little bit. Give me all of it. Don't stop, don't quit.
So you can see where the wheel on the bottom comes in handy, and we do have volunteers. Now, I should mention the activities are $10. We want it to be as affordable as possible. And we do have volunteers as well. So there are people to help you on the hike, and the hiking location will be on the BC Moss website. And once you're there, all the hikes that we have planned are accessible by transit in the area. And then you can have a help on a hike. If you didn't want to get into the trail rider or you wanted to try some other activities, we have adapted paddling. This is with our kayaks. They're modified. You can see the pontoons and the gloves to help you hold on to. And we're going to have 4 staff this year, some returning, some new faces. And this is along the seawall, beautiful part of town, accessible either by the Canada line or the Expo line. and you can come down and you're on the water for an hour, and our staff will give you all the equipment. And again, when you paddleboard, we'll provide the wheelchair because the board has a weight limit on it of about 320 pounds. So you don't want to sit on it with a heavy power chair. But when you're in a manual chair, you can go for a paddle. And as you'll see in this video, depending on your own mobility or the assistance that you need, if the weight ratio is correct, you can either paddle independently or you can paddle with assistance, as demoed in this video here.
I wanna live, wanna feel the thrill of it. I wanna see every side of heaven. Taste the air, take a ride and breathe again. I want it all right now. And I'm never gonna stop.
So that was just a quick little video. Again, you could see people were paddling of different abilities. The program is welcoming to everyone. And then again, before I started speaking, we had a programming message, and one of the names mentioned was Megan Williamson. Well, this is Megan Williamson here, holding the stretch band with her two hands, providing some resistance. Megan is a professional personal trainer, and she has been doing adaptive fitness with BC Moss. And of course, she is a regular content provider on Connect Together. So with the personal training, people can do it from the comfort of their own home, and they will also be encouraged by a student as well, who has a personal training background that'll be working with Megan. This year's student is named Katrina. So look for information on the cohort. That'll be starting May 15th as well with Megan Williamson. And then over the last couple of years, and we'll be continuing to do so this year, we've had the hand cycling. So that happens in Pacific Spirit. Pacific Spirit is accessible by the number 25 UBC and the number 33 UBC bus. It is a very calm park. So you can, if you had some mobility or you wanted to get a workout, usually people hand cycle for about an hour. The staff will be there with you, the same staff that does our hiking program. And the cycling is starting June 6th, and it happens on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And if you've done it before, you can rebook, or you can see if you can get referred through GF Strong. GF Strong does have hand cycling clinics where you can try things out and check out our programs. I should also mention, of course, on May 18th, so right before our programs get started, on May 18th is the Abilities Expo. And at the Abilities Expo, you'll get to meet our hiking staff, and they'll have the cycles there for you to see. And some people tried them out last year at Abilities Expo. So now we'll go to Connectra. I think I'll skip this because you know about Connect Together. That's what I'm speaking on right now. But stay tuned to this channel for upcoming community forums where they discuss different topics and we really get people's input and look to give information about what's happening in the community. Now we have the Disabled Independent Gardeners Association located throughout the Lower Mainland. Again, Fran Wyman's the person to speak to. We'll also have our gardening coordinator, Shireen, and a summer student as well. So over the summer, very appropriately, Diga grows. There's more people to help you with the program. And we have adapted gardening beds. We have things set up on a water timer. As you might imagine, things are made accessible so that you can use it from a mobility aid. Now, if you're hearing about Diga for the first time, there are community gardens throughout the Lower Mainland, and clients can ask about space in a garden bed. They can purchase seeds and then attempt to grow certain things. In case you're wondering why that disc is hanging there, it helps deflect the sun at different angles to the plants. And then Diga also tries to find modified garden tools, right? All of our bodies can move different ways, we grip different ways. So the standard tools might not work where there's a handle at the end. You might need something that slides up your arm and you grip the handle in the middle, happening here. All of our programs, our goal is to make it for your journey. If you need more time to get ready in a trail rider, that's okay. If you need more time to get ready to paddle or sail or whatever, it's made for your experience. And then depending on how things go, Diga is always there with workshops. Maybe you have something in your home, and Diga could help with gardening supplies. I'm going to go to the next slide. So again, with less COVID, stay tuned to Connect Together and our websites for Diga get-togethers. Here's the community garden plots, and this is a great visual of people getting together, and you can see the garden plots are right about the height of a wheelchair. So you can stay seated where you're most comfortable and still do gardening. Now, this is something new. So version 2.0, you can see the different size difference. So I don't know about you, but I live in an apartment. Many people, love the outdoors, love to have a small garden, and maybe the home gardening planter, it's called, is for you. So this is version 2. You can see it can fit in tighter spaces, and then you can water or put plants, as you've seen in version 1. You can put your own plants in there, so it's like having your own garden bed. Again, if you're interested, contact Graham Wyman of Diga, or just go to any of our websites. If you go to the Disability Foundation, you will find web pages for all of our websites. If you send an email at any of our info, we'll do our best to answer your questions. And then if you've listened to Connect Together, I'm sure you've heard about podcasts. Well, Diga has their own called Growing Together. I know they have some interesting content coming up, an 8-part series that talks about food preparation and assistive devices. It was a collaboration with Tetra, and it's featuring Diga. And we also had support from Ingenuum. So more on that as it happens. I believe that'll be happening in June or later this spring. Look for that podcast. The Adaptive Sailing Association. Now, did you know this is Sip and Puff here? And you may have seen or heard that people use computers or the wheelchairs through Sip and Puff. Well, even if you have very limited mobility where you can't move your hands at all, you can sail. Because what happens is our staff, again, will set up what you need, what's specific to your needs. And so for Terry here, he sips in on the straws to bring them in, and he puffs to bring the sails out. So I can't emphasize enough, sailing is for all ages. We have kids, we have people who are in their 90s that sail. There's a weight on the bottom, right? When you think of things that are above the water or buoyant, like out in the water, there's different buoys. Well, imagine like a 400-pound buoy in the bottom of our boats that protect it from tipping. And how about we do this? I have a video that kind of summarized our last season, and this will give you an idea of the staff and the volunteers you'll be sailing with. So I'm going to let this video play. Oh, I forgot, I have to do the YouTube link. So I'll see if I can come back and load that later. But here's our 8 boats that we have, and we're going to sail Wednesday through Sunday. So again, if you're watching and you want to know when can I book for sailing, it's May 15th. May 15th for all BC Moss and sailing programs. May 15th online through the website. I'm going to take a moment here. We're changing our booking system because people have said it fills up too quickly, it fills up too fast, and I don't get a chance to book. So what we're doing is the bookings now are going to be in 2-week intervals. Some of you and we'll send out emails, but some of you may book your handy dart the same way, 5 days to 2 weeks at a time. So what we're trying to do is make sure our sailing season doesn't fill up too fast because we know how popular it is. If you're watching this and you have more questions, please feel free to contact me. But there are boats. It is $10 again. Kids sail for free Wednesday through Friday. We're starting May 24th with booking starting May 15th. And if you give me 1 second, just so people can see, I'm going to stop screen sharing and I'm going to go load. The video I want it to show. So just give me 1 second, okay? See if I can get out of this video and we'll load to give you an idea of our sailing program. I just have to load it a different way. Okay, now I'm going to re-screen share. There we go. The sound's still on. Here's the sailing video I wanted to show earlier. Thank you for your patience. If you're hearing about our sailing program for the first time, this video should give you a better idea of our program.
Adaptive Sailing Association, Hannah speaking. Oh, you want to know what it's like to work here? Let me introduce you to the crew.
So thank you. That was our sailing program. So what I do want to mention is it is accessible by public transit, the bus that gets you closest. And again, we sail at the Jericho Sailing Center. So if you're wondering where they do this, just think of Jericho Beach, visit the Jericho Sailing Center. There are accessible washrooms and an elevator. We've sailed out of there for years. It's a great place to hang out. And as you saw in that video, every sailboat that we launch is on the land. So what we're going to do is we have an office at Jericho. You saw some of our staff walking in there. You'll meet with our office coordinator. Her name is Sunny this year. We'll make sure you have the forms filled out. And then same at paddling, we'll make sure that you have your life jacket, all the safety stuff. We have suntan lotion if you need it. We'll have water, and then we'll discuss the best ways to get you into the boat. We have a ramp that you can wheel your wheelchair up on, and then we can help you pivot transfer in. You saw in that video, we have a lift, so we can help lower you into the boat like you would use. Some of you may use a lift system, or you can stand and pivot. So there's multiple ways to get you in. In the sailboats, there are seats for you that have armrests and a back. Myself, I don't have the best balance either. So when I'm in the sailboat, I use the seats that have, when there was a scene in that video where there was the row of boats and you kind of saw the white seat sticking out, you'll have a seat to sit in. And then as you saw, staff or volunteers are right behind you. So it's a really popular program. You can have somebody take you sail. You can certainly have somebody help you in and out of the boat. And you can also learn to sail, or there are people that do racing and sail themselves. So, but lots of activities. And amongst BC Moss and sailing, you have paddleboarding, kayaking, or sailing you can do on the water, multiple activities. So I'm going to go back to screen sharing. Our sound is still on. I'm going to share this screen, and then I'm going to talk about Tetra briefly. So Tetra is our assistive device program. That's what it says on this screen, customized devices. And I can't stress this enough. Our Tetra volunteers, it's a national organization. We do projects in the Tri-Cities, in Abbotsford, in Chilliwack, in Vancouver, in Victoria, in Surrey. Wherever you are in the Lower Mainland, we would try to match you with a technically skilled volunteer. And every device that's worked on, a client sends in what their needs are, the help they need. If you're ever wondering what Tetra makes, this is kind of our Amazon of assistive devices. So you can go to our website and then you can click on the button that says, check out our database. This is our database. And if you'd like a request filled out, I can help you over the phone. A health professional can help you. A family member can help you. A friend can help you. And you just click on the Ask for Help button. Again, that's at tetrasociety.org. So I like to show a couple project examples. Again, the volunteer, you do not have to pay, right? Our programs are about people participating or removing barriers to their independence. So we can't buy you a wheelchair or we can't buy you a cell phone, but you can see our volunteers will meet with you at your home and help make a holder for your cell phone or your recorder like this young boy is wearing here. And then people ask me, what kind of requests are you seeing more of? Well, definitely to connect with technology. If you wanted to do that, we have NetClay as well. If you wanted more information, NetClay and things can be shown at tetragear.com. Depending on how much time we have left, I may pull that up later. But here, again, customization. So we have two mothers, right? One is pushing a manual chair, has a carrier. One is a power chair user, less mobility in her arms, but her child is just as safe. And the volunteers made that. They are professional engineers and they make it to engineering quality. And then modified cribs, right? I'm always told it's not a bad idea to have a baby in a presentation. So here is the complete overview from the mother's perspective of this project, and you'll get to see how the volunteers came up with this idea. So I'm going to make sure that I have the sound up all the way, and then we'll play this video for you.
I applied to Tetra initially because my son was gaining a pound a week for a little while. It was causing a lot of strain on my back, and being able to reach him all the way down at the bottom of the playpen was nearly impossible. And also, my husband and I, we have a regular stroller, but for me, only on flat ground can I push it. So otherwise, I generally put my son in my lap, but after a while, he starts to get pretty heavy on my legs.
We came and saw the crib, took all the parts home, and basically I showed up at Ron's workshop on weekends when he was free, and we just we went to work at it.
We wanted to make sure that she could wheel completely underneath and physically reach into the corners of the crib so that Simon would always be accessible to her.
And so we decided to take off that one side of the crib to put that sliding door in, like closet doors on tracks.
With the bifold doors, I can just open them, and he's right there, and then I can lift him. He goes straight to my lap.
But because the front wall would no longer be a structural component, the crib might move this way and that way, kind of racking. So we decided to create a solid wooden frame that plugged in, and we put half lap joints on it so that it was even stronger.
I'm really glad because Simon slept in it really nicely right from the beginning. He really enjoyed it because I was able to get up right close to him and play with him. I could change his diaper, and I could do all sorts of things without having to worry about my back hurting. It's just affected our lives a whole lot.
The stroller was another project that Nicole had requested.
But the laws of physics say that if you put a load out front at a distance, the wheelchair would want to turn downhill on inclines and things like that. So a decision was made to move the child seat as close as we could get it. So I just found a seat that's smaller and more compact. I offset the seat to the left, and that allowed her to, by herself without assistance, reach down on this side and lift Simon up and put him in the seat.
The stroller that we came up with that attaches right to the front of my chair is just amazing because he just loves it. He looks at the world when we drive around, and he feels the wind in his hair, and he's actually quite sad when we come home, and he doesn't want to get out of it.
So there you can see, I just want to make sure everybody understands there is no cost. And when she says in the video, I applied to Tetra, what she means is she went online to Tetra Society, that's T-E-T-R-A, tetrasociety.org, and you can request assistance, and you fill out in your own words the help that you need. Now, again, we can't build you a robot or we can't make you a heart, but we do a varied number of projects, and the volunteers are retired engineers or they're students, and they make them in their own workshops. You're not charged any cost. It's by donation. The thing that makes us happy is knowing that people have devices that give them greater independence. And if you wanted, you could give a quote on how the device is meeting your needs. But basically, you put in the request, I would review it, then I try to connect you with a volunteer, and then they would meet you where you are to work on your project request. So I hope that makes sense. And Tetra is all year round. It's just like Connectra. Tetra is all year round. So you can put in a request. I get requests over Christmas. You can put in requests on the first day of the year, whenever you think you have a need. I mean, it's always great to talk about things with family members or health professionals. There is a referral part as well, but we even get requests by faxes. So I know we're talking about summer programs, and the reason why I'm talking about Tetra is because it's going to be happening in the summer as well. If there's something that you want to do recreationally, playing catch, whatever it may be, walking your dog easier, you might want to put in a Tetra request. Remember, Tetra and Connectra are year-round societies. And then the other thing is, with our summer programs, if we ever need something modified or built, the Tetra volunteers are kind enough to help out there too. So they also help out with the other societies that you may participate in. So I'm going to go back to screen sharing, and let's go back to this presentation. This PowerPoint here, we'll pick this one. You saw the video. So let's see. And now, so here's just an example. See, here's the volunteer. This is the same mother that you saw the project for. And this is just to give you an idea. And you might be watching thinking, hey, I have a friend that could get involved, but they can't build stuff. Well, our communication team would always say, Eric, we need help on our social media. We need help to write stories. We need help to promote what we do. So again, if you've had a good time in any of our programs, you can be an ambassador for what you experience. Telling a friend or saying to somebody, I had a great time, I really enjoyed myself, really helps out. So there's many ways to help. Now we do have Tetra gear. I'll see if we have enough time to show stuff later. That's the lighting system that's on my chair. It can help you be seen at the dark, and we also have net clay as well. And just to give you an idea, maybe you know somebody who's technically skilled. We also have university students that are Tetra volunteers as well. So last but not least, VAMS, the Vancouver Adapted Music Society. Everybody on some level likes music, whether it's listening to it or relaxing, meditating to it, whatever it may be. You don't need to play music to enjoy it, but if you did want to play music or see if you could, there is an accessible studio down at GF Strong. So GF Strong, I've spent some time there. You can be an outpatient. Besides being there for rehab, there's lots of things happening. And in the basement, if you've ever been to GF Strong, in the basement, right near the Tech Aids lab, is our studio. And it's free to use, but it is busy. So you'd want to book an appointment. And then one of the tools that we have is called the mobile studio. So you can see it's at a sitting level. So you can use it from a wheelchair or scooter. There's a keyboard, there's kind of the computer screen. The coordinator that you'd see day to day, his name is Bryden Vino. Super nice guy, and nothing makes him happier than collaborating and creating music with people. So you heard me just talk about Tetra. Again, in the VAM studio, Tetra's played a big part and has helped create assistive devices for people. So this gentleman here, he couldn't hold the guitar, but with the table that was made, it fits the shape of the guitar and he can play it in his lap. So again, can't stress this enough. In whatever program you participate in, we want you to have an experience that is unique to your needs. If you can't hold an instrument, that is okay. One of the things we love is removing barriers and solving problems. And Bryden at the studio loves to solve problems. And then remember we were talking about before with sailing, you could learn how to sail. While in our music program, if you develop your skills and are confident and have a song to sing, there is performance opportunities. None of this is mandatory. You can choose if you want to perform, but definitely throughout the summer, our artists will be out there performing. There's some great musicians, so look for those opportunities. And then VAMS will be doing a smaller series of concerts, I believe, starting in the summer. So look for the venues. VAMS is trying to do different venues throughout the city and live music that you can come and enjoy. And again, the costs are by donation or very affordable, and it's a great way to spend an hour and a half or so supporting local artists with disabilities and that are extremely talented. So, and then as well, VAMS also has its virtual content. There's podcasts where they interview different artists, and we want to do in-person events, but COVID did teach us we could do virtual concerts. So we always like to show this as an idea, because I know myself, the weather's been horrible, right? It's been pouring down rain, it's cold, who wants to go out and get wet? but maybe VAMS puts on a virtual concert. The last time we did, about 300 people, 312 people attended online. And it's just great to enjoy music. Now, you might be thinking, you know what? I like music, and back in the day, I bought a piece of musical equipment and I don't want it anymore. And I don't want people I don't know showing up to my house. Well, you could donate it to VAMS, and we would give you the space back in your living area, and you could know that we would try and sell the instrument or use it in the program ourselves. So the musical instrument you're not using could live on and help other people or help VAMS. Either we would sell it to buy more equipment or use the actual equipment in the program with our members. And then we did talk about, again, a slogan when we talked about our mission statement, reimagine what's possible. And you may be on our mailing list. We have the Discover newsletter. Well, sticking with that theme, VAMS has Reimagine Radio, where you can hear either stories about artists, other people in the disabled community. You can hear what's happening with VAMS and the podcast and the virtual content. And then you can always subscribe. You can do that through VAMS. You can send an email. There's buttons to click. And then here is a screenshot of the contact information. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to put these in the chat. And again, if anybody is watching this and they're like, oh, I want to know where I can go to get the information, just go to the Disability Foundation website and you can give us a call, or there is phone numbers that you can call. I'm going to put all of these in the chat, but each program has its own coordinators that you can call or message. The key thing is, anytime you have a question, you can just phone in, email in, and we'll connect you with the right person. So if anybody's watching online, Carol, I did put that in the chat for you. So I do want to just reiterate, with the time we have left, we're going to get everything underway on May 22nd. Before May 22nd, there's the Abilities Expo. It's happening at the Roundhouse Community Center. It's going to be I believe between the hours of 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. at the Roundhouse Community Center, where we've had all of our Abilities Expos, and we thank the Roundhouse for their support. The Roundhouse is right in the heart of Yaletown, right across from the Canada Line stop, and completely accessible. And that is May 18th. So less than a month away is the Abilities Expo Connector's biggest event. And again, the Abilities Expo, that's on a Thursday. So, and May 15th, our booking opens, our staff start. Now we want to train them, so they're there to help you and get comfortable with the program. So think of our summer programs booking. To book a time, May 15th, you can do that online. Our staff do their training, and then the activities start May 22nd through to the end of August. Paddling is 7 days a week, $10 per participation. That's down at Creekside. Hiking is Wednesday through Sunday. We're going to be hiking throughout the Lower Mainland on the weekends, $10. Tetra is year-round, free customized devices, connect with a volunteer. VAMS is year-round. The hub of their activities is at GF Sterling Rehab Center in the basement, but look for more information on our social media of what we're doing. The best place to find out what we're doing is on Connect Together, where we are now. That talks about what's happening. And of course, Dig is going to be busy out in the community gardens, and that's going to be, their community gardens are going to be open starting in May, and there's going to be virtual content. So there's a ton of things going on. Hopefully we have a program that suits you or what you're interested in. Don't be afraid to contact us And I really thank everyone for tuning in. This will be also available on our YouTube channel. So thanks everyone for listening to me today, or wherever you might be watching on Facebook. Stay tuned to all the Facebook pages and connect together for things that are happening with the Disability Foundation. But hopefully this gives you a better understanding and a brief overview of our summer programs, because we look forward to connecting with you this summer. And thank you very much. Again, I'm Eric Molendijk, the program manager for our sailing, our outdoor program, BC Moss, and Tetra. But you can contact me and I will put you in contact with the right people for the programs that you're interested in. So I hope you're having a great start to your week. And thanks again, everybody. I really appreciate it. There you go, sir.
Okay, that leaves the two of us.
Yeah.